The first time Lily saw Nathan, it felt like déjà vu, like she had known him in another life, in another time, in another dream. She was sitting by the cafe window, lost in a book when he walked in, laughing, loud, alive. The kind of presence that turned heads without even trying. He wasn't beautiful in the conventional sense. His hair was always a little messy, his shirts wrinkled like he'd just rolled out of bed. But there was something about him that felt like an open road, like an adventure waiting to happen. And for a girl who had spent most of her life lost in daydreams, he was the kind of dream she never expected to walk into reality. "That book any good, or are you just pretending to read?" She looked up, startled. He was grinning at her, a coffee cup in one hand, his jacket slung over his shoulder with that effortless, careless charm. Lily blinked. "Excuse me?" "I've been watching you stare at the same page for 10 minutes, he said, pulling out the chair across from her without waiting for an invitation. "So either that sentence is the most profound thing you've ever read, or you're somewhere else entirely." She hesitated. Then, to her own surprise, she smiled. Maybe a little of both. That was how it began. Lily, the quiet dreamer, who felt everything too deeply. Nathan, the restless wanderer, who chased the horizon with reckless abandon. They were nothing alike, and yet from that very first moment, they were everything. Their love was a whirlwind, full of late-night conversations on rooftops and spontaneous road trips to nowhere. Nathan had a way of making the world feel bigger, of pulling Lily out of her own head and into the wild, unpredictable beauty of real life. And Lily made Nathan feel seen, like he wasn't just another fleeting moment in someone's life, but something more. For a while, it was magic. But even the most beautiful constellations eventually drift apart. It started with little things. Nathan would talk about backpacking through Europe, about chasing the northern lights, about disappearing into the world with nothing but a backpack and a map. And Lily would listen, smiling. But there was always that flicker of something behind her eyes, a quiet kind of ache. Because every time Nathan talked about leaving, he never said anything about her coming with him. "You could come, you know," he said once offhandedly, as they lay in bed staring at the ceiling. "Drop everything. Just go." Lily traced invisible constellations across his skin, her fingers light as air. "And what happens after?" Nathan frowned. "What do you mean?" "I mean, after the adventure, after the newness wears off. What happens when you want to run again?" Nathan sat up, running a hand through his hair. "Lily, I don't run. He exhaled sharply. "I just can't stay in one place too long. You know that." "I know," she whispered, and she did. Nathan was like the tide, always moving, always chasing the next wave. And Lily was the shore, waiting, hoping he would find a reason to stay. But the truth was, he never would. Their love was real, but it wasn't enough to change the stars. The night they said goodbye, it rained. It wasn't planned. It wasn't some big dramatic fight. It was just inevitable. Nathan was leaving in the morning. One-way ticket, no return date. And Lily? Lily had finally realized that love wasn't about holding on to someone who was meant to be free. They stood in the doorway of her apartment, the air thick with things they weren't saying. "You could ask me to stay," Nathan said softly, his voice barely above a whisper. Lily swallowed the lump in her throat. "And would you?" He hesitated, and that hesitation told her everything. She stepped forward, pressing a hand to his cheek, memorizing the way he felt beneath her fingertips. "I love you, Nathan," she said, her voice breaking. "But I can't be the thing that keeps you caged." A tear slid down her cheek, but she didn't wipe it away. Nathan closed his eyes, leaning into her touch just for a second. "You're not a cage, Lily. You never were." "Then why do I feel like one?" Silence, and then a broken whisper. "I don't know." For the first time in his life, Nathan had no words, no escape route, no easy answer. Because deep down, he knew she was right. So he did the only thing he could. He kissed her, slow and aching, a goodbye wrapped in a memory. And then, just like that, he was gone. Lily stood in the doorway long after he disappeared down the street, the rain soaking through her clothes, her heart unraveling with every step he took away from her. But she didn't chase him. She didn't call his name, because some love stories aren't meant to last forever. Some are meant to set you free,